Have you ever wondered what really happens when a perfect Hollywood romance falls apart? We all saw them on red carpets, looking like they had it all figured out. Supermodel Heidi Klum and singer Seal seemed like they were living in a fairy tale that most of us could only dream about. They had the glamour, the passion, the beautiful family, and that kind of love that made everyone believe in romance again. But here's the thing about fairy tales. Sometimes they don't end the way we expect them to. Sometimes even the most beautiful love stories have chapters that break our hearts. Today we're diving deep into one of Hollywood's most talked about relationships, and trust me, this story has more twists and turns than you might imagine. We're going to look at how two incredibly successful people found each other, built something amazing together, and then had to face the hardest decision of their lives. But that's not all, because we're also going to meet their four incredible kids and see where they are today. So stick around, because this journey is going to take us from the heights of romance all the way through to some really tough moments, and then show us something beautiful that came out of it all. Let's rewind to before Heidi and Seal ever met, because understanding their story means knowing where they both came from. Heidi Klum was born on June 1, 1973, in a small German town called Bergisch Gladbach. This wasn't some fancy, celebrity neighborhood or anything like that. It was just a regular town, but Heidi had big dreams. In 1992, something incredible happened. She entered a modeling contest, and winning that contest literally changed her entire life. Can you imagine? One decision, one competition, and suddenly she's on a path to becoming one of the most recognizable faces in the world. By the time the late 90s rolled around, Heidi was everywhere. She was walking for Victoria's Secret, appearing on magazine covers, and becoming a household name. But here's what a lot of people don't realize. Behind all that success and those bright camera flashes, Heidi's personal life wasn't always smooth sailing. In 1997, she got married to a celebrity hairstylist named Rick Pipino. They seemed happy at first, but by 2002, that marriage ended in divorce. After that, Heidi started dating an Italian businessman named Flavio Briatore. In 2004, they announced they were going to have a baby together, which should have been this joyful moment. But sometimes life throws you curveballs when you least expect them. Their relationship fell apart before their daughter Lenny was even born. So there was Heidi, this incredibly successful supermodel, about to become a mom, and she was facing it alone. Now let's talk about Seal, because his story is just as powerful. His full name is Seal Henry Olusegun Olumide Adeola Samuel, and he was born on February 19, 1963 in London, England. Seal's childhood was really tough. His parents were from Nigeria, and they raised him in an environment that had a lot of challenges. He dealt with things that would have broken a lot of people, including a skin condition called discoid lupus erythematosus. This condition left scars on his face, and you can still see them today. But instead of letting that define him in a negative way, Seal turned all that pain and struggle into something beautiful. His music became his voice, his way of telling the world that he was here and he mattered. In the early 90s, Seal burst onto the music scene with hits that people still love today. Songs like Killer and Crazy got people's attention, but it was his 1994 ballad Kiss from a Rose that made him a global superstar. That song is absolutely timeless. Even now, decades later, people still get chills when they hear those opening notes. By the early 2000s, Seal was selling out concerts around the world, winning awards, and living the kind of life that seemed absolutely perfect from the outside. But just like Heidi, he was also searching for something deeper. So here we have these two people, both at the top of their careers, both dealing with their own personal struggles, and both hoping to find real love. And then, in early 2004, fate decided to step in. They met at a luxury hotel in New York City, and according to Heidi, it was one of those moments you never forget. She saw Seal coming out of the gym, and he was wearing these tight workout shorts. She later said he was standing there in his full glory, and she was immediately attracted to him. But it wasn't just about how he looked. Heidi said there was something about his confidence, his kindness, the way he carried himself that just drew her in. And Seal felt it too. From that very first meeting, there was this undeniable spark between them, like the universe was saying these two people were meant to find each other. They started dating pretty quickly after that, and their romance was the kind that people make movies about. Seal wasn't the type to do things halfway, especially when it came to love. After several months of dating, he decided it was time to take things to the next level. In December 2004, Seal planned one of the most romantic proposals you've ever heard of. He took Heidi to a remote glacier in Canada, and when they got there, she discovered he had built a custom igloo just for this moment. Inside that igloo, there were rose petals scattered everywhere, candles creating this warm glow, and a setup that looked like something straight out of a romance novel. Seal got down on one knee in that magical setting and asked Heidi to marry him. Of course, she said yes. Seal later said he wanted the proposal to be as unique and beautiful as she was, something she would remember forever. And Heidi called it the most magical moment of her entire life. On May 10, 2005, they got married in an intimate beach ceremony in Costa Cares, Mexico. Picture this: the ocean waves rolling in behind them, close family and friends gathered around, and Heidi wearing this stunning Vera Wang gown while Seal looked amazing in a white suit. They exchanged vows that were deeply personal and heartfelt, promising to love and support each other through everything life would throw at them. It was the kind of wedding that makes you believe in true love. But the beautiful part of their story was just beginning. On November 21, 2009, Heidi officially took Seal's last name and became Heidi Samuel. And here's something really special. Seal formally adopted Heidi's daughter, Lenny, in December 2009. Even though Lenny's biological father was Flavio Briatore, Heidi has always been very clear that Seal is Lenny's real father in every way that matters. He stepped up, he loved that little girl as his own from day one. And that tells you so much about the kind of man he is. Together, they went on to have 3 more children. Henry was born in 2005, Johann came along in 2006, and their youngest, Lou, was born in 2009. Heidi often talked about what an incredible father Seal was. She described him as loving, hands-on, and completely devoted to their kids. She said he had such a big heart and that she felt lucky every single day to have him as both a husband and a father to their children. Despite having these incredibly demanding careers, both Heidi and Seal made their family the top priority. Here's one of the most unique and romantic things about their marriage. Every single year on their anniversary, Heidi and Seal would renew their vows. These weren't just quick little ceremonies either. They were full-themed events, sometimes costume parties, sometimes elegant beach gatherings, and they'd invite their closest friends and family to celebrate with them. Seal described these renewals as a chance to remind each other why they fell in love in the first place. In 2010, he explained that each year they'd take the kids down to a private beach as the sun was setting, and they'd sit there together and read new vows to each other. Can you imagine how special that must have been for those kids, seeing their parents choose each other over and over again? But life isn't a fairy tale. And even the most passionate love stories can face challenges that seem impossible to overcome. By 2012, cracks were starting to show in what had seemed like a perfect marriage. The pressures of fame, their demanding careers, and the complexity of raising 4 kids in the public eye were taking a toll. In January 2012, after nearly 7 years of marriage, Heidi and Seal shocked everyone by announcing their separation. The news hit hard. People couldn't believe it. This was the couple that renewed their vows every year, the couple that seemed to have figured out how to make love last in Hollywood. In their joint statement, they emphasized that they still had love and respect for each other, but they'd grown apart. Seal gave an interview where he simply said that sometimes things don't work out the way you hope they will. 3 months later, on April 6, 2012, Heidi filed for divorce. Their divorce was finalized on October 14, 2014, officially ending a chapter that had meant so much to both of them. After the divorce, both Heidi and Seal focused on being good co-parents to their children. Heidi continued thriving in her career, taking on new roles as a television host, producer, and entrepreneur. She eventually found love again with Tokyo Hotel guitarist Tom Collins. On December 24, 2018, Heidi announced on Instagram that she and Tom were engaged. They got married privately in February 2019, and then had a bigger wedding ceremony in August 2019 on a yacht in Italy. Seal stayed dedicated to his music, releasing new albums and touring around the world while making it clear that being a father was his #1 priority. Despite all the drama and hurt feelings, both Heidi and Seal have maintained a cordial relationship for the sake of their kids, and that's really what matters most. Now let's talk about their 4 amazing children, because they're the beautiful legacy of Heidi and Seal's love story. Heidi Klum, who's now 20 years old, has become a rising star in the fashion industry just like her mom. When she was born in New York City on May 4, 2004, Seal stepped in as her father figure from the very beginning, and he loved her as completely as he loved the children they had together. In 2020, when Lenny was 16, she made her modeling debut on the cover of Vogue Germany right alongside her mom. That was such a special moment. Since then, Lenny has walked in major fashion shows, worked with incredible brands, and truly made a name for herself. But despite her success, she stays grounded and credits both Heidi and Seal for teaching her the importance of hard work and humility. Henry Gunther Ademola de Samuel was born on September 12, 2005 in Los Angeles. He was Heidi and Seal's first biological child together. Henry has always been known for his adventurous spirit and athletic abilities. As the oldest boy, Henry naturally became protective of his siblings, especially his sisters. Now at 19 years old, Henry has a strong passion for soccer. While he hasn't pursued a professional career in sports, he excels in local leagues and school tournaments. He's known as a humble, grounded young man with a strong sense of responsibility, always supporting and encouraging his siblings. Johann Riley Fyodor Taiwo Samuel was born on November 22, 2006 in Los Angeles. From an early age, Johann showed a creative streak that just couldn't be contained. He had a natural talent for drawing and painting, and unlike his older siblings, he preferred quieter activities. Johann also inherited his parents' incredible sense of style. Now at 18 years old, Johann has blossomed into a talented young artist with skills in drawing, painting, and even digital art. While he prefers staying out of the spotlight, his proud mom occasionally showcases his artwork on social media. He's also known as the peacemaker of the family, the one with a sharp sense of humor who can diffuse any tension with a perfectly timed joke. And then there's Lou Salola Samuel, the baby of the family, who was born on October 9, 2009 in Los Angeles. Seal described Lou's birth as a deeply emotional moment and called her arrival a true blessing. She's known for her bubbly personality and her absolute love for performing. Heidi has shared that Lou enjoys singing and dancing, always putting on little shows for the family. Now at 15 years old, Lou has emerged as a star in the making. She's expressed interest in pursuing a career in the arts, whether that's in music, acting, or dance. Heidi has mentioned how Lou's confidence and natural charisma are just incredible to watch. One of the most beautiful aspects of this whole story is how close these 4 siblings are. Despite their different personalities and interests, Lenny, Henry, Johann, and Lou have always been there for each other. Heidi and Seal worked so hard to instill values of respect, love, and unity in their children, and that foundation has helped them navigate life in the public eye while staying grounded and real. Heidi has always told her kids that family comes first, and no matter what happens in life, they'll always have each other. So what's the takeaway from Heidi and Seal's love story? Yes, their marriage didn't last forever. Yes, there was heartbreak and pain and difficult decisions that had to be made. But their story is also about so much more than that. It's about 2 people who found each other when they needed it most, who built something beautiful together, and who created for incredible human beings who are now making their own marks on the world. Their journey reminds us that life is complicated, that people can grow in different directions, and that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is acknowledge when a chapter needs to close. But it also shows us that endings don't have to be completely tragic. For amazing kids are living proof that something beautiful came from Heidi and Seal's time together. So was their love story a fairy tale cut short, or was it simply life taking its natural course? We'd love to hear what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, make sure you hit that subscribe button Give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone who loves vintage celebrity stories as much as you do. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.